Think about this for a moment. Life isn't measured only in years, is it? It's measured in mornings when you wake up with energy, in afternoons when you still feel steady on your feet, in evenings when your memory is sharp enough to recall the name of a neighbor or the punchline of a joke you told 10 years ago. Now, let me ask you, what if there was something so ordinary, sitting quietly in your refrigerator or waiting for you at the grocery store, that could stretch those moments out? What if this one vegetable, often overlooked, could help you live not just longer, but better, with stronger bones, a sharper memory, and a heart that keeps beating strong? Just picture it for yourself. 10 extra years of birthdays, 10 more summers in the garden, 10 more chances to watch your grandchildren grow. That's the promise hidden inside this humble vegetable. And here's the surprising part. I'm not talking about an exotic superfood or a supplement that costs a fortune. I'm talking about real food, backed by real science. Yes, research shows that adding this vegetable into your daily routine can have profound effects on longevity after 60. But I won't reveal it just yet. Because before we get there, I want you to truly understand why this vegetable is so powerful and why most people your age aren't taking advantage of it. Stay with me. And before we dive deeper, let me quickly say, if you care about healthy aging, longevity after 60, and real science-based nutrition tips, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll never miss the next simple step that could change the course of your health. Let's be honest, growing older isn't always graceful. Some mornings it feels like your body is a car engine that doesn't want to start. The joints creak, the back resists, and the energy you once took for granted seems to drain faster than a weak battery. Does that sound familiar? Maybe you've noticed that climbing stairs leaves you more winded than before, or that digestion feels heavier after meals that once didn't bother you. Perhaps your memory slips, a name escapes you in mid-conversation, or you walk into a room and can't recall why you went there in the first place. These are not just little annoyances. They're daily reminders that time is moving forward. And for many seniors, they quietly raise a frightening question. Will the years ahead be about living fully or simply getting by? I hear this from patients again and again. They want more than extra years on paper. They want vitality. They want independence. They want to garden, to travel, to play with their grandchildren without feeling chained by fatigue, medications, or endless doctor's visits. And here's the truth. Healthy aging doesn't come from luck. It comes from choices, especially nutrition. What we eat after 60 shapes everything from bone strength to memory sharpness, from heart health to energy levels. Senior nutrition isn't just about avoiding disease. It's about building resilience for the years ahead. So let me ask you directly, does that sound like you? Have you noticed these struggles in your own life or in someone close to you? If it does, I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Sharing it may even encourage someone else listening today, because you are not alone, and that's exactly why I'm here. Now, before I go any further, let me tell you a little about who's speaking to you. My name is Dr. Jonathan Miller. For over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to the field of geriatrics. That's the branch of medicine focused entirely on older adults. During those years, I've sat across from thousands of men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 90s. I've listened as they told me about their struggles with fatigue, with brittle bones, with memory that fades just when they need it most. And I've also celebrated their victories. The patients who turned their health around, who discovered they still had more years of strength and joy left than they imagined. Why do I do this? Because I watched my own father lose his independence too early. He was strong, hardworking, but he didn't always take his health seriously. By the time he reached his late 70s, the complications from poor diet and lack of movement had taken their toll. Watching him struggle lit a fire in me. I didn't want other families to feel that same heartbreak. That's why I'm here, speaking directly to you today. Not to lecture, but to share what decades of science and real patient stories have taught me. Aging well is possible, and sometimes the solutions are far simpler than people think. And to show you just how real this is, let me tell you about one of my patients. His name is Robert. He's 72. And when she first came to see me, she felt like her body was failing her in every possible way. Robert was 72, when he first walked into my office. He wasn't the kind of man who liked going to doctors. In fact, he admitted right away that he usually avoided appointments, but his wife insisted because she was worried about how much he had changed over the past year. He used to be the type who could spend an afternoon tinkering in the garage, fixing a neighbor's lawnmower, or repairing his own tools. But lately, he said, even a short walk to the mailbox left him short of breath. His knees ached constantly, like rusty hinges that refused to bend smoothly. And then there was his memory. He told me with a sad smile, "Doc, I used to be the guy everyone came to for advice. Now I can't even remember where I left my screwdriver." Those small frustrations piled up into something bigger. Robert confessed he felt like he was slowing down too fast, as if the best parts of life were slipping away from him before he was ready. We tried the usual things at first: more walking, adjusting his medications, a few supplements, but he came back a few months later, discouraged. Nothing seemed to work. And then, during one of our conversations, we uncovered something surprising. A change so simple, it almost sounded too good to be true. Yet it turned out to be the turning point for him. Before I tell you what it was, let me ask, have you or someone you love ever gone through the same struggles? Fatigue, aching joints, or memory lapses that make daily life harder? If so, share it in the comments below. You'll be surprised how many people are walking that same road, and your words might just give someone else the courage to keep going. Because Robert's story isn't unique, but what happened next is what made it extraordinary. Do you remember Robert, the man in his 70s who felt like every year was stealing a little more of his energy? He had tried supplements, special teas, even pricey powders. Nothing seemed to stick. What changed everything for him was surprisingly simple. A vegetable many of us have pushed aside on our plates since childhood. That vegetable is broccoli. It might sound too ordinary to be powerful, but the science tells a different story. Let's walk through what it can do for you, step by step. Heart protection. Think about your heart first. Broccoli is loaded with soluble fiber, which works almost like a sponge, trapping cholesterol and carrying it out of your body. On top of that, its antioxidants protect the lining of your arteries, keeping them flexible instead of stiff. A study from the University of Western Australia followed over 1,500 women in their 70s. Those who ate more broccoli and other cruciferous vegetables had a 26% lower chance of calcium buildup in their arteries. And calcium in the arteries is one of the strongest red flags for heart disease. Let me turn this to you. When was the last time you thought about what's really protecting your heart day after day? Write it in the comments. I'd love to hear. Bone strength. Next, let's talk about bones. After 60, the risk of fractures rises sharply. One fall can set off a chain of problems that changes your independence. Here's where broccoli shines. Just 1 cup gives you more than 100% of your daily vitamin K. That's the nutrient that helps calcium lock firmly into your bones instead of floating around in your bloodstream. In fact, research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that people with higher vitamin K intake had about a 30% lower risk of hip fractures. That's not just a statistic. That's a safeguard against losing mobility, against long hospital stays, against dependence. So I want you to picture this. If your bones were 30% stronger, what would you dare to keep doing? Gardening, hiking, playing with grandkids? Share your answer because it might encourage someone else. Immune defense. Now, think about your immune system. Many people don't realize this, but broccoli actually gives you more vitamin C than an orange. And vitamin C is like rocket fuel for your white blood cells, the tiny soldiers that fight infections. A review in the journal Nutrients showed that seniors with higher vitamin C intake had shorter and less severe colds and infections. In real life, that means fewer long, draining weeks stuck in bed and more time enjoying the activities you love. Here's a question for you. If you could cut your sick days in half, what would you spend that extra time doing? Digestive health. And let's not forget digestion, constipation, discomfort, even colon problems. These are all things I hear about from patients every week. Broccoli's fiber keeps everything moving like clockwork, but more importantly, it also lowers the risk of colon cancer. The World Cancer Research Fund reviewed dozens of studies and found that people who ate fiber-rich diets had a 16% lower risk of colon cancer. That's not just comfort, that's prevention. That's peace of mind. How much makes a difference? Here's the part many people get wrong. You don't need to eat a mountain of broccoli every day. Just 2 to 3 cups a week is enough to deliver measurable benefits. That's half a cup a day. A small side dish with dinner or a scoop added to your stir fry, and you're set. Cooking matters too. Steaming it lightly for 5 minutes keeps the nutrients intact. Roasting it with olive oil and garlic adds flavor without losing the health boost. And if you really want to supercharge your plate, try broccoli sprouts. They can contain up to 20 times more antioxidants than regular broccoli. Practical everyday swaps. Let me give you a few simple, no-stress ways to fit it in. Replace French fries with roasted broccoli once or twice a week. Cut down on pasta by half and fill the rest of the plate with steamed broccoli. Toss chopped broccoli into an omelet, soup, or casserole. You won't even notice it's there, but your body will. Which of these swaps feels easiest for you to try this week? Write it down below. Your promise to yourself. And finally, here's my challenge. Will you make a small promise to yourself today? Twice this week, put broccoli on your plate. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just commit to 2 meals. Type it in the comments as your personal pledge, because when you declare it, you're far more likely to follow through. And that one decision, just 2 meals, could be the first step toward adding not just years to your life, but life to your years. We've covered a lot, so let's bring it all together. Broccoli may look simple, but inside, it's doing powerful work. It lowers cholesterol and protects the heart. It locks calcium into your bones, keeping them stronger. It fuels your immune system with vitamin C, and it keeps your digestion moving while lowering your risk of colon cancer. That's 4 areas: heart, bones, immunity, digestion, all supported by one humble vegetable. And remember Robert? When he started adding broccoli to his meals just a few times a week, the changes didn't happen overnight. But within a couple of months, he noticed his walks felt easier, his digestion improved. His doctor even pointed out that his cholesterol numbers had dropped. Most importantly, he felt hope again. At 74, he wasn't just getting older, he was gaining confidence that his later years could still be active, strong, and meaningful. So let me ask you, after hearing this, do you feel ready to make one small commitment to yourself? Maybe it's trying broccoli twice this week. Maybe it's making it a regular guest at your dinner table. Write it in the comment, because when you speak that promise out loud, it's the first real step toward change. If Robert could turn things around starting in his 70s, why not you? Why not today? So now you know the truth. One simple vegetable, broccoli, can truly add years of strength, resilience, and vitality to your life. The choice is yours. Will you let your later years be defined by decline or by energy and independence? If this video gave you even one idea you can use, do me a favor. Hit the like button, share it with a friend who needs this reminder, and subscribe so you don't miss the next tip that could change your health after 60. And don't forget to leave a comment below. What's the first meal this week where you'll add broccoli? Your answer might inspire someone else to take their first step too. Remember, your health isn't written in stone. Even small, consistent choices can rewrite the next decade of your life. So let's make it stronger, longer, and healthier together.